All right, so let's jump into certified organic. What are our thoughts on certified organic?
Thoughts on organic?
Yeah.
Well, I remember back when it was kind of a hot topic
Mm-hmm.
for just the average Joe, right? You saw organic come to the supermarkets, and there was a whole little section of blah, blah, blah. So we were on Vashon Island at the time and had a bunch of small farmers that, this was like the big thing. So we're like, why aren't you certified organic? Like that's the thing right now. And they're like, do you know what it takes to be certified organic? Like,
Yeah.
no, I don't. Please tell me. And it was like some ridiculous number of years that they had to have, USDA come out and pH test the soil, and you have to use all the natural pesticides and stuff. And like, like when these people are trying to learn that stuff, like, what if they fuck up and lose their whole crop for the summer and like whatever? So, I mean, I don't know what that.
It's a very expensive process.
Yeah, and it costs a lot of money to get that certification, right?
Yeah.
So for small farmers, it's like they can't do it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just a label, right? I mean, I guess it's better than not having it, but
It should be
if you
good.
stand behind what you're doing and it's like you think that you're doing the right thing and you're caring for the animals anyways, it's just a label, right?
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of these labels are kind of for the big producers, right? That have the money to spend. And I heard a story about organic where this farmer was like, I'm not certified organic because my fence post is I use a lacquer or a stain on there, and if the cow happens to walk up and lick that post, it's not going to be 100% organic, so I don't have that label. But if I don't use that, I have to chop down a forest every single 2 years to replenish my fence. So like, what's better? What's the give and take? I think that's what we're trying to get to, is like there are these small farms that maybe don't have some of these labels, but they don't need to because they're doing the things the right way, and they almost don't need to like keep proving it over and over. Hey, we're certified organic, but no, we raise chickens in this little coop over here, right?
Yeah. And I think that's where that's the whole premise of this conversation is something like organic. We talked about how do we vet a farm? And when you see all of that and it looks right, it's clear, it's there's no smoke and mirrors, right? You see what you get.
Yeah.
And that's the important piece of actually like seeking the right farm, the right beef producer, the right hog farm, right?
Oh yeah.
Not hiding behind the organic certification, not hiding behind, hey, we're, this or that, and trying to actually putting it all out into the world and just knowing that we're supporting this farm that's doing the right thing. You don't have to have this, that, or that, because I think that's where big ag has come and kind of messed it all up, right? They're doing things so poorly and so bad that they have to have these certifications for someone to go, oh,
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah.
And it's all jumbled up and messed up anyway.
Let me ask you this question. Talking about that farm earlier that you said you went and visited and the animals were standing in knee-deep in shit.
Poo-poo.
Could that farm have been certified organic if they did what they thought they were supposed to do?
100%.
That's the problem, right?
100%.
So there we go for our listeners and the people that are going to ask the question. I'm asking the question myself in my head is, how do you know when you go to the store, you're looking around, you're like, oh, this chicken says certified organic. It must be good. But is it? Like, how do you know that for the common person to go out and to retail and buy something? Like, there's no way to look through that label other than the stamp and know that that animal was properly raised.
Absolutely. It's actually very, very challenging, especially if you go to large retailers. When you go to large retailers, they have to feed the masses, right?
Yeah.
These large retailers
Sure.
do, let's just call it $1 million a day, right, in sales. Well, what farmer can they buy from that sells X amount of organic chickens a day from a small farm?
Yeah.
So they have to look to these larger conglomerates that says, hey, well, this is an organic chicken program from this farm. And then it's just hidden behind a label, right? And so one of the best ways to do it is actually to shop smaller, to shop more local, right? And then to actually get to know your butcher shops, to get to know the person at the counter, and then build that rapport, and have them tell you the questions, because smaller local is typically always better, right?
Yeah.
Right, and that's one thing we've talked about before, is how do you trust your butcher, right? You walk in,
Hope so.
you trust us. We're a small, teeny tiny little operation, but we can tell the story.
But we have to prove it, right?
We
Like I
know-
don't just trust you.
We know where it comes from.
Yes.
We're starting to even realize the carbon footprint, like all of that stuff. We can tell you tons of stuff that you probably don't even want to know.
Yep.
But that's just like, I guess that's the difference. You can't go to gigantic grocery store and the butcher back there's like, what are you looking for?
Yeah, yeah. A lot
If
of
they
these
even have a butcher.
a lot of these
Or
grocery
the-
stores
the
will
meat
have
cutter, I should say.
photos of the farm, and then you go, okay, well, that's a photo of one of the farms that's feeding your system, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
But in reality, how many different farms are actually feeding that beef program, right? And so that gets lost as well, right? Because they promote one farm, but how many farms are a part of that, in a sense, brand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that sucks because I wish that we could look at that label and go certified organic. Like I want my meat to be, raised that way and have access to the outdoors and be clean. Like that's what we're all kind of looking for, right?
You want like a little kid's book attached to your chicken at the store. You can open it up and be like,
Yes.
it's Henry.
Right? What was his
and
name?
his mom was...
No, but I mean, I want to look at the label and go, okay, this is raised well and it's certified, but it's very convoluted. It's very
Picture book.
gray. It's very,
Picture book.
picture book.
That'd be
That's
cool.
cost effective.
What we
Absolutely.
love is like, maybe a month and a half ago, we harvested an animal from a very special farm in Colfax, right? With that animal had a name. The farmer named that animal.
Wow.
We knew exactly where that animal came from. It was 100% pasture raised, and it was literally, I don't want to make this sound cruel, but it was almost a pet, right? That
Yeah.
this family had for many years.
Wow.
And that's cool. Like that's truly knowing the source.
That is one sad day for that
That's-
for
yeah.
that
But
farm.
it lived a tremendous life.
I'm
right?
telling you,
Yeah.
I have that in my repertoire. Bruno was out on the farm on Vashon, and I had to kill the steer that I saw be born and fed it bottles and like
Wow.
watch this animal grow, and then I had to slice its throat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow, dude. Like honestly, like how
it was
in-
messed up, and
in-
I almost didn't want to
well, yeah.
do it anymore.
You're a human.
I almost didn't want to do it anymore because I loved this. I would go out and see him and feed him grass, and like as he got bigger and whatever, and then Kurt's like, "Today's the day." I'm like, well,
But you know that it's going to be fully utilized. It's going to feed.
Yeah.
It's going to feed X number of people, and that's
we
that's
did
why you it.
Bruno justice.
Yeah, that's a good story. That'll be a great story for TikTok. I can't wait to post that.